Good morning, guys. Welcome to our assembly. Now, this week, our assemblies are going to be super exciting because it's our maths week in school. And maths at Wincham is always really, really good fun. It's always really challenging because it makes you think and it makes you even more clever than you are now. So what I'm going to do in assemblies this week is I'm going to talk a little bit about how maths is all around us and how it's really amazing. And then I'm going to tell you a little bit of a math story. So today I'm going to show you a bit of a magic trick because I am magical. And on Wednesday, I'm going to show you something to do with patterns and stuff, and all sorts of exciting patterns that you might not realize are to do with maths, because maths is absolutely everywhere. And you might not realize maths is everywhere, but when you're sitting watching me talk and listening to me thinking, oh heck, it's nearly playtime, you're looking at the clock going, it's 5 minutes to playtime, you're using maths. When you are looking at the traffic on the road, when you're in the car and you're counting the red cars, and you're just counting the red cars and you're skipping all the others, you're using your maths because you're using your counting skills. When you are helping mum and dad set the table at home and you're putting out the cutlery, you're using your counting skills because there are 4 people at home and everybody needs a knife, a fork, and a spoon. So how many pieces of cutlery do we need? 4 lots of 3. 4 threes are 12. That's right. So we've got maths absolutely everywhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can show you a little bit of a maths trick. Okay, so let's have a look and have a whiteboard. So first of all, pick a number. You get to pick any number between 1 and 10, and I'm going to call that number N. Stands for nothing number. Okay, so pick your number between 1 and 10. Now it might be that you want to do this on your own. It might be that your teachers want to help you and do this as a class. Okay, so you've got your number, and the first thing that you're going to do with your number is you're going to times it by 2. You're going to double it, and then we get our answer. And with our answer, next thing to do, we are going to add 9, and then we get our answer. Okay, so double your number, then add 9, then with your answer, take away 3. Okay, take away 3. So think about what your number is. Now we've got our answer. Next thing to do is divide by 2, or halve it. Okay. And then final thing to do, once we've got our answer there, I'm running out of space on my screen, I'm going to take away N, take away that first number that we started with. Okay, so take away the first number that we started with, and then I am going to, using the amazing power of my brain, I am going to write the answer, your answer, on the board. Are you ready? Your answer is 3. Amazing, isn't it? Let's see if that works, shall we? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rub out this N, and I'm going to try putting a different number in its place. So are we ready? We're going to pick, let's have the number 3. So 3 times by 2 is, or 3 doubled is 6. Add 6, add 9 is 15. 15 take away 3 is 12. 12 divided by 2 is 6. And 6 take away 3 is 3. Amazing. Let's see if we can try that with another number. Okay, this time I'm going to go with 5. 5 times by 2 is, shout it out, 10. Well done. 10 add 9 is, go on, shout it out again, 19. Brilliant. 19 take away 3 is, that's right, 16. 16 divided by 2, or halved, is 8. 8 take away our first number, take away 5, is 3. Wow. It's like magic, and it's maths. So you can try that one at home, and you can show your mums and dads just how magical you actually are. Well done, guys. So if anybody comes to me on the playground tomorrow and says they showed their mums and dads that magic trick, I'm going to be really super impressed. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to read you a bit of a math story. It's a really, really cool story. I really, really like it because at Wincham, we love a good story. We love a good book because reading stories is cool, and we can actually get a double win on this one because we're reading a story about some maths. So let's have a look at our story. Here we go. Now, this is a story called Max's Math. Max's Math. Okay. Here's Max. You can see him. And you've got some funny shaped things here. Do you recognize that? I wonder if you can tell what that is. Let's have a look at what's going to happen in our story. All sorts of numbers. They don't quite look normal. A bit turned around. So, Max had a problem. He was building a car, but he only had 2 wheels. He needed 4. 2 add something is 4. 2 add what is 4? That's right, 2 add 2. Max went off to look for some wheels. He found one in the basement and another one in the garage, and now he had 4 wheels. 2 add 2 is 4. He could finish building the car. So even when you're building a Lego model and you've got 2 wheels on your car, you've got 2 more, then you've used some maths to make your Lego model. Max started the car. Where are you going? Asked Max's brother, Ben. To look for problems, said Max. Why would anyone go looking for problems, said Carl, Max's older brother. Because it's fun, said Max. Can we come? Asked Carl. Sure, said Max. Carl and Ben climbed into the car and off Max drove. Ready to set off, but they've got their helmet and goggles on to keep them safe. Because if you're going on a maths adventure, you need to stay safe with your helmet and goggles. So they went for a drive. Max cruised down the highway, past 10 vehicles, 2 buses, 3 trucks, 5 motorcycles. Let's count. 1, 2 buses. 1, 2, 3 trucks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 motorcycles. 2 add 3 add 5 makes 10. And we know that because if we can look at our number bonds, we know that 2 add 3 makes 5, and 5 and 5 makes 10. So we've got that, and we're just counting, but we're using our maths. And there's also some enormous cows. I've never seen cows that big, but look at the cows. How unusual. What do you notice? I've never seen cows that look quite that cool. So the road began to curve sharply. Stop, cried Carl. What's that? Max pulled over. An enormous number lay in the grass. It's a 6, said Ben. Or a 9, asked Carl. It's a mystery, said Max. We'd better take it with us, said Ben. How can it be a 6 or a 9? If you tilt your head one way, it looks like a 6. If you tilt your head the other way, it looks like a 9. But we don't know which one it is. Max exited the highway. To the left was Shapeville. To the right was Counttown. May I help you? Asked a traffic officer. He's very tall. We're looking for problems, said Max. Well, there are plenty in either direction, said the officer. Put your hands up if you want to go to Shapeville. Okay, hands up if you want to go to Counttown. Put your hand up if you've not put your hand up yet. Okay. Max turned left and headed towards Shapeville. The town was littered with triangles, circles, ovals, and other shapes of all sizes. We're looking for the town square, said Max to the mayor. You won't find it, said the mayor. A storm passed through this morning and swept away all the squares. We don't have any squares left. Oh no. How would you manage if you had no squares in the world? Think about all the things that are squares. if you didn't have them? You wouldn't have like a slice of bread, because that could be a square shape. What other squares can you think of? There might not be any windows. Oh, that's interesting. No squares, said Max. He parked the car, and then he found two triangles in the rubble and put them together to make a square. Look, there, two sides, three sides, four sides, with a diagonal there and a diagonal there, and the sides are all the same length. That's extraordinary, cried the mayor, and soon all the townspeople were piecing together the shapes. Ben and Carl joined them. Ben made a sign, Carl made a kite. Look at that. We've got a stop sign, we've got a triangle, 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 trapezium. And we've got all sorts of shapes, and you can put the different shapes together to make bigger shapes. But suddenly the kite began to rise, and Carl went with it. Max grabbed Carl's leg and followed, and Ben grabbed Max, and soon they were floating above ground. They passed 5 clouds, 3 birds, and 1 airplane. Then they drifted higher. Look at all the stars, said Ben. How are we going to get down, asked Carl. Dot to dot, said Max. He connected the stars, and look at what they got. If you look up in the night sky, you will see patterns of stars. They're called constellations. And people years and years and years ago looked up at the sky and thought that they could see different things. And this one is Pegasus, a flying horse. So if you look for that shape in the night sky, you'll see the square, the line of its neck, and you'll see each of the legs. So look up in the night sky when there's no clouds and see how many stars you can see and see what shapes you can see in the stars. He connected the stars, and in no time they were flying towards Shapeville. Watch out, cried Ben, but it was too late. They crashed through a clothesline, scattering socks in all directions. Oh dear, my socks, cried a young man. Who will help me sort them? We will, said Max. Max and his brothers sorted the socks into pairs and hung them back on the clothesline. Now, you might not realise that when you're sorting out the washing and making sure that Dad's got his socks and Mum's got her socks and your sister's got her socks and your brother's got his socks, in their pairs are part of maths, because we've got 2 things that are the same that match. Okay, so we're using our 2s. The young man chose a fancy pair and put them on. I definitely like a pair of socks like that. And just in time, the citizens of Shapeville had lined up and were marching out of town. Where's everyone going? Asked Max. To Counttown, said the mayor. They're launching a rocket today. Oh, I'd like to see that, said Ben. And me too, said Carl. So Max and his brothers hopped into the car and followed the crowd. Oh, I wonder what's going on in Counttown. But all was not well in Counttown. Numbers were dashing here, there, and everywhere. What's going on? Asked Max. We have a problem, whispered someone. A couple of numbers went missing during a game of hide and seek. We can't find number 0. So the numbers were all running around. Max and his brothers set off to look for the 0. They jumped onto a bench. Carl spied a bird's nest with eggs, and among them was the 0. Here it is, cried Carl. Oh, that's nothing, said the bird. Let it be. It's not nothing, said Carl. It's a 0. And without 0, there wouldn't be a 10 or 100, said Ben, because we have to have that 0 as a placeholder so that we know which place in our place value chart the 1 is in. There wouldn't be a rocket launch, said Max. Come on, because we're going to have our rockets and we're going to count down to 0. Max gave the 0 a push. It rolled out of the nest and got in line next to the number 1. We're ready for the countdown, said the mayor, as everyone gathered together at the launching site. Have a look at the mayor. That is such a cool picture. I love that because he's made up entirely of numbers. You could make a really cool looking hair out of numbers like that. A large rocket was poised skyward. 10, 9, 8, 7, shouted the mayor, but suddenly he stopped. Where's the 6? He cried. Hasn't anyone found it yet? Max opened the back of the car and took out the number 6. Here it is, he said. It was hiding in the grass on the side of the road. Allow me to thank you, said the mayor. He awarded Max and his brothers a golden ruler. Then the countdown continued. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift off, exclaimed the mayor, and the rocket burst into the sky. Afterward, there was a celebration, and Max and his brothers were invited. The people of Shapeville provided the cake. Look at that, with all of the rectangles and the different bits of flavour inside with ovals and circles and triangles. And it's been cut in half down the middle. The people of Counttown brought the ice cream. Look at the ice cream. Aren't they cool bowls? I'd love some of those. That'd be great to have your food out of. When the party was over, Max and his brothers drove home. It was 9 o'clock. Bedtime, said Max. We're not tired, said Carl. How can we sleep? Said Ben. I know, said Max, climbing into his bed, and he counted sheep to fall asleep. And there's all of the numbers. There we go. It's a really good story, isn't it? I really like that one. And it's really nice to see, because obviously we're not going to find numbers lying in the side of the road, but there's lots and lots of examples of how maths can be all around us. So have a wonderful maths week this week. Do lots of really good maths and keep your eyes open to see if you can see maths around you. And if you want, you can have a look at this video. You can find the video on YouTube if you search for Wincham Primary Head. Then you'll find the channel with all of the videos on it. You'll be able to practice your maths problem, your maths magic, and see if you can be a maths magician and show your parents that maths problem that we had at the start of the assembly. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.